It's a beautiful day to blaze some good, a beautiful day to blaze some good. Would you be kind? Please light mine.
Roll up.
All right. Well, welcome to today's edition episode of Greens and Beans podcast. And yeah, there's been some crazy things going on. Shit. I was just looking at some shit about they got this new what is like a stomach virus that shit. I mean, I guess it might be coming from, at least they say coming from Taco Bell, but it's even like in all the food supplies. So they're saying don't eat no raw food right now. Cook all your food, which we do anyway. The only thing I don't cook is like the salad stuff. So, like, I've been eating the shit out the fuck out of salad. So, but everything else I cook. I love like broccoli. I love it raw, but I also cook it too. And see, that's the thing about veggies. You don't want to cook it too much because you cook out all the nutrients. But either way, this shit is bad news. It gives you like, it was one person talking about they have explosive diarrhea. Ouch. I'm not laughing at her, the term explosive diarrhea. She was talking about like shitting 40 times in a day. Now that part I can sort of identify a little bit because, of my health issues that I've been dealing with, I have to take a diuretic. And if you know diuretic, it makes you pee. It's pretty weird because I can, it's like it's wild because, if I don't take the diuretic, then I get fluid buildup in the lungs and I can't breathe from that fluid, which sucks. That I've had to deal with that, get like a thoracentesis, and basically they tapped me like a keg, but so I have to go to the bathroom like a bunch of times. You know what I mean? So usually I do it early in the morning where I take the pill, and it's like half my day is gone, or whatever part of the day, and I'm back and forth to the bathroom, but it's only peeing. So now with this new shit, it's to take a shit like 40 times, and maybe she's exaggerating, but I don't know. This is some bad news. This is one I actually I can't really go too conspiratorially into if it's real or not. I kind of have a feeling this is real only because we know the food supply. This is where the conspiracy part comes into that. we know with the food supply, it's basically poison, and your body has to work overtime basically to get rid of that poison through you. So that's why a lot of weight gain. Although I'm working very hard to lose weight, even though it doesn't look like it. I changed my diet and everything. I'm just sitting there. I got the munchies. I ate some watermelon and cantaloupe. I'll get there. But either way, this is foretelling. I mean, the conspiracy part about it too is that I don't think this is something that just happened. You know what I mean? This is something that we know that all of the farms now have been going private because the corporations are either buying them out or basically taking over the market so that smaller farmers can't they can't sell it. They have to sell to the bigger people. Things like that. There's even an issue with it's like I think it's the Smithfield company is trying to get it to, like, I think it's like legislation or something where it basically gives them the corner in the market above local pig farmers, smaller pig farmers, and gives them there's no oversight into their practices. You know what I mean? So they can just basically give us whatever they want. And this is basically what's going on in all our industries with the deregulation and just sort of the corporations just sort of to cut back and to make more profit, and I believe intentionally poison. It's not by accident, because they do want to get rid of, I guess, a good portion of the world. We all have to eat. There you go. Right? So we have a lot of politicians that, just really don't have our best interest at heart. And that leads me into tonight's movie, the movie of this episode. Then that would be, I should have had it queued up. Weekend at Bernie's. Now, yeah, I was looking it up while I was watching the movie. It came out in '89, so it's. The premise is shit. The acting is shit. But surprisingly, I got a couple laughs out of it. So, but the reason why I picked this movie is not only just for its nostalgia, not only for just a laugh, but it's a metaphor. Now, tying that into the previous statement of the politicians, this movie, right? What we know about this movie is these men had to sort of play the part of they were just there with Bernie, and nobody else around them knew Bernie was dead, but they had to sort of use Bernie in order to just make it through that weekend. They had to make everybody believe Bernie was alive, and it was more advantageous to them to show Bernie being alive, right? So you see in the movie, right? They sort of go through all these different hijinks, and they actually find out that the reason why Bernie's dead is because somebody tried to kill him, or somebody did kill him, but he actually was intending for the two guys to get killed, right? Now, all through the movie, it was just a matter of showing that this guy's still alive, right? Now, what do we have going on in our social daily life that's happening right now that could be sort of a Bernie situation? Mitch McConnell right now, they're not telling us what's wrong with him. All we know is that he's in the hospital, right? Now, he's been MIA. Now, I kind of surmise that, they're doing this, one, because his seat could be up for a Democrat. And you see with what all the different legislation and all these different tactics that the Trump administration is going through to keep the majority for the Republicans, right? Of course, that's all show, because Republicans, Democrats, they're just the same. They're just different factions within the same criminal organization, right? But for us, it's all a put on, right? Now you see him there. Now, I think they did mention that this is not AI. They were able to find out this is not AI. But what do we notice, right? He's just propped up and he's smiling, but he's propped up. and you see her hand. Now, she could just be holding his arm, loving touch. But I know we did see in Weekend at Bernie's, right? Plenty of times. How did they prop Bernie up in order for them to show that he was still alive to the rest of the people in the story? And go check the movie. You'll see what I'm saying. I mean, you can go to my Patreon. You know what I mean? Subscribe. It's only $5, one tier. So, or you can go online and watch the movie. Either way. And oh yeah, by the way, I always missed it. You know what I mean? Anybody watching this, if you want to maybe shoot me a subscribe. If you don't like the video, still subscribe. Hell, I never turned off negative votes, so if you don't like it, you can, whatever, just, but anyway, subscribe. You don't have to like it. You can like it, but just subscribe. Hit the fucking button. Anyway. Yeah, so, I mean, honestly, we saw in the movie, like I said, they propped him up with his hands behind his back, put their hands behind Bernie's back. Now, to going back into what I was previously stating, right? Let me take this picture off. I mean, he was just even disgusting looking. Just to see his face. You would see you would see some of the shit that he would say, and they would ask him, and two people I've seen do this when they were in a discussion, and the people they were discussing with told them of all the bad shit they were doing and how it would affect people. It would affect the country negative, affect people in the country negative. McConnell and Bill Gates. They would always have this evil smirk. And it was the same fucking smirk. So it's almost poetic justice. Because a lot of these politicians, they have to work until they're dead. I mean, look at Lindsey Graham. Look at all these other ones. You know what I mean? The system, the power structure, works these people to death, literally. And so there's so many different things. I just want to look at a few, just a few of his misdeeds. So the first one here, that they actually compiled a list, and they're being generous because they only came up with 17. But this motherfucker's had a lifelong, well, just a lifetime of, just like Lindsey Graham, but fucking America. Now, the first one, of course, is they talk about how he stole a Supreme Court seat from Obama. Now, during Obama's term, the Justice Antonin Scalia died, right? Now, the seat was vacant, and the seat was vacant for a while. And when Obama, and I remember this clearly, when Obama's nominees were blocked, and he was very instrumental in blocking his nominee. And the one nominee was Merrick Garland. He wouldn't have a hearing or anything. Now, of course, who came in? But after Obama, Trump. And, of course, his Supreme Court justice appointees all got in. All of the Republican ones, right? Then, of course, Trump loses his second bid for the White House. And then we have Biden. he did it to Biden. Now, there was a whole other. Now this one was a little bit different. This one was when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, right? Now what they did was they actually rushed in their pick before the election for Biden. So he didn't even have a chance to pick, right? Now, that's important for many reasons, because now you have the Republican ideology in control of major levels of government. Well, these people claim to be about America, to be about the Constitution, but they never follow it. It's just they do everything they're doing right now is to destroy the Constitution, destroy America, and they're doing it. And the thing about it is there's so many people just watching it. But the problem for me was, and this is where racism really has like its bad effects. Because a lot of the people in our country support Trump. Didn't give Obama or Biden that same kind of backing, back of the word, as the commander in chief of America. And in fact, because of Biden, yeah. Because that's right. Because of the old Biden administration, which Biden first administration, a lot of American voters were happy to gravitate towards Trump because, one, it's the obvious reason, he's white, and the first thing he said when he came down elevator in his hotel, I believe, full of people paid to be there. He talked about how Mexicans are rapists and immigrants, this and that and the other. Right? So they connected right away with the racism of Trump, and they were so happy to get away from Obama. Not because he did anything wrong, but just because he was black. Just because he was black. And we can say that now because a lot of the programs that Trump now is getting rid of helped a lot of these so-called Americans. I call them redcoats. They definitely don't abide by the Constitution. I call these people red. These are the redcoats, the modern redcoats. I hate to say it, the MAGA. I mean, red hat, red coats. It was these things are not done. these things are not done by accident. I mean, they're done on purpose. And there are no coincidences to this, right? They just even now. So a lot of the policies, right? The big beautiful bill. The one thing they wanted to get rid of was that Obamacare. So now a lot of people have no health care, or coming up will have no health care. A lot of people that look like him are losing all kinds of benefits. You know, and I know this well because I had an issue within his first term, they started pulling people off with disability, right? And I was born with a disability. Now, disability is something, and I'm talking about SSI disability, where they get insurance and you get the payment, you get checks every month, right? Now, I really don't know about like the retirement, and I don't know how other people got it. I know for the most part the idea about getting it is you're disabled, right? But you still have to work and put money in order to be able to become part of that program. And when I was younger, it was a lot easier for me to work. One, I didn't have the hip operation already. I got hip replacement, and I hadn't had my tech and bypass. So, but during the time of Obama, I mean not Obama, but during the time of right towards the end of Trump's term, they started getting people off of disability, right? And what they did was they would put you up for another review to see if you were still qualified or still disabled enough to keep the disability, right? And then Biden came in, and at that point they decided, nah, the fuck off of it. And they took me off of disability. Now, I was still disabled enough to get Medicaid, but the whole disability, right? I wasn't disabled enough. And it's crazy because it's like as soon as they took me off, I started feeling these symptoms. I didn't know what they were. A couple months later, it was like January, boom, attack. And eventually I did get disability back because, you're talking to the judge. You gotta, when you apply and they deny it, you gotta go in and the judge and they review your medical records and shit. And the judge was like, whoa, he's fucked up. He didn't say it that way, but you could hear it. And when the lawyer was talking to her and going over my symptoms, you could hear sort of a audible gasp from the judge. And she was like, yeah, get him back on it. Anyway. So these are some of the things that's going on now. Racism, right? This is something. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. It's always been bad. It's even worse now because one, people don't have to hide it; they can just out in the open with it. And number two, the system favors those type of people. Just look what's been going on in the news. I mean, every time there's anything to do with one of us, we're always seem to get the negative part of it, right? Young man is killed by a Chinese store owner. It was his fault, even though he didn't have the bottle of water, right? Another young man is killed by 3 of his so-called friends, right? They're not even in jail. Now we have Mr. Carmelo Anthony, right? Being attacked by the twins. And from what I understand, it may be even more people that he was attacked by. And in defending himself, he killed one of the twins, right? Oh, they had no problem locking him up and convicting him. All right. And Nolan and Carmelo, we both know come from 2-parent homes, sort of middle class, right? So we have Mr. Mitch McConnell. What these people do in government, I'm trying. It's not nepotism, but it's they only seem to take care of their own, right? Now we had this whole thing of DEI, and they made a big thing about it. It was a whole big thing during Biden, and it's big now because again that MAGA crowd, they were so upset about the DEI. You know, how dare you give unqualified people jobs and money and any kind of assistance? They're unqualified. They're not white. They need to live shitty because we say they should. So, what do you think happens when the federal judiciary only has one type of person, right? Well, that's something Mitch McConnell did. He was part of. You know, they tapped only white people for the Supreme Court, right? And other federal judiciary seats, a lot of them deemed unqualified, right? So it's DEI for them, nothing for us, of course. Now, here's another thing, right? We're told to respect Trump as the commander-in-chief, right? And all the other politicians are supposed to fall in line. But for Obama, we have Mr. McConnell, who vowed publicly to obstruct Obama at every turn and did so. He did the same for Biden, right? Now, the first thing is, I thought we had the Constitution. I thought we had a political way about handling things, and of course, Obama's in now. So you respect the office, and you fall in line for whoever is the president. And even though he may not be, or they may not be of your tribe, Democrat, Republican, the idea is you want to create laws that help America. But twice, this man obstructed that process. I don't know. Because these people keep getting elected. We know that they take bribes, right? And these bribes are basically, and not bribes, campaign contributions. And when you're a person who gives somebody money to, you don't just give somebody thousands and say, okay, do what you like. That's not how these rich people work. They use their money to work for them, right? So you get the politicians, right, to create these laws. These I don't know if they're laws or just something where they say, okay, instead of us just giving you money, but just under the table, which they still most likely do, we'll call it campaign contributions. And it seems like every term it gets worse in the amount that people can actually pay. And now it's to the point where they can just give, I believe they can just give whatever the fuck they want, however the amount they want. Now, how were they able to do that? Well, our Mr. Mitch McConnell, he's definitely one of the blocks to campaign finance reform. I mean, he destroyed it, filibustered all efforts to get money out of politics. So now we know. And that's the thing and that's the thing that bothers me about this whole MAGA shit, because these people call themselves they call themselves patriots. But what's patriotic about the fact that a billionaire can give any one of these politicians any money as much as they want, and then we see that a lot of times what the politicians want, or what the billionaires want, is something that goes against us, right? And they're all for it. I mean, it's evident. You see it. But, with that crowd nowadays, because they see with ICE going out and getting rid of all of the they're it's supposed to be supposedly getting rid of all of the immigrants, right? And they love to see when the immigrants are getting killed, or and people are getting killed from this, because it's only brown and black people. Well, not so much black people, right? It's actually, funny enough, it's been either a Mexican, a Haitian. I think there was one Haitian guy, and a few of the guys were white, actually. The ones that aren't with the bullshit, the ones that, of course, they would be the ones that get killed, not these MAGA dudes, right? And I don't want to see anybody get killed like that. We're all going to die, but I don't want to see anybody get killed like that. But the point being is, people that are actually for the good, people that are actually for the actual Constitution, always seem to be the ones that get the murdered. So, I mean, that's pretty crazy, right? We have campaign finance reform. Now, one of the things on this list, right? He named himself the Grim Reaper, which here, let me explain what it reads here. He vowed to literally kill progressive legislation to address climate change and expand Medicare. Now he talks about one of his statements is, are we going to turn this into a socialist country? And it's something that a lot of these politicians say. The big thing now is from Mike Johnson. He needed $350 million to fight communism in America. And what's communism? I guess, what's communism in America? Anybody that goes against the government, anybody that's against what the government's doing, especially when it comes to immigration and ICE. If you talk bad about them, whatever, whatever, man. I mean, it's being infantile about it, but you definitely don't. It's like the boogeyman, You say their name and it'll show up. But this is the things these politicians are for. And anytime there are bills, laws that are created to help us in any possible way, there's always politicians such as Mitch McConnell to block it. Now, the climate change thing, I think that's a misdirect. And honestly, when these politicians or the ones pushing it admit that, it's a climate change isn't a thing, or not to the way they are explaining it. Because, I mean, it's a broad term, climate change. Climates change. The change, that happens, like, we're in a hot period, right? Things are a little bit hotter than, man, I don't know. because it's been hot my whole life. My whole time I'm here in Florida, it doesn't seem extra hot than it has been before. So they can say that, but I remember Florida always being hot as fuck. So that's a play on people's short. Anyway, that's a whole nother discussion, right? But anytime there's something to address any of our issues or address any of our concerns or to help us out as human beings, citizens of this country, you have politicians such as Mitch McConnell. So great that they would block anything to help us. And he routinely did that. I mean, like for instance, now in his own state, they have minors. They have fucking minors. What state was Mitch McConnell from too? I think it was, let me see. I can just find out for sure. Kentucky. That's right. Kentucky. So, in his own state, they have fucking coal miners, even to this day. I know there's a joke. I forgot which comedian. I think it was. I forgot. There was a comedian that was even talking about that. Like, there's still coal miners. So that's pretty wild. Now, like I said, blocking any legislation help. It was an issue where there was coal miners that were coming down with black lung disease. And of course, you know what's the one thing we as citizens understand that we should do? We go to our government. And of course, there he was as a block. No, it states here he said he failed to support legislation that would reclaim mine land for economic development. So that could have been jobs for miners. He led that. He led the Republican effort to cut taxes on coal companies, taxes that would help struggling miners. Of course, they have a pension fund that he was also basically blocking them from shoring up, blocking any sort of efforts to help coal miners with this black lung disease. Great guy. Totally great politician. Yeah, he was also fighting gun safety regulations. I mean, you can't be any safety with a gun, so I'm not too. I'm not too about that one. It doesn't ig me so much. Oh, here's one. This is a political trick, I believe, that you hear so much about, which is the filibuster. Now he says McConnell used the filibuster more than ever in history during the Obama administration to try to deny Obama any legislative victories. Now, basically, what the filibuster does, it just basically means that in order for a piece of legislation to go forward, you have to have over, I believe it's 60 votes, whereas normal threshold, I believe it's definitely below 50, or maybe it's at 50. Well, let's check that. I remember hearing about that so much. And I definitely remember it during Obama's term. Okay, it says filibuster is a political procedure used in legislative bodies, most notably the U.S. Senate. Now, this is to delay or block a vote on a bill. Now, it says it also involves prolonged speaking by one or more lawmakers, so it runs out. Now, let's see. Cloture, yeah. Okay, yeah. So the filibuster, like I said, is a delay in the actual vote. Now, in order to enact a vote or to force a vote, they have this procedure called cloture under the filibuster procedure, and with cloture, you have to have 60 out of 100 senators. You have to have the majority, but it's a wide majority as opposed to, if a piece of legislation wins by maybe 2 or 3 votes. In this case, you have to have 60 out of 100. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Cloture as part of the filibuster procedure, and he used this in his obstruction of the legislative process during Obama's term and Biden's term as well, right? But these politicians swear to follow the they swear to follow the laws of the land, and they voted in to help the people out, but it was so many, and I just so remember, because number one, it's the Affordable Care Act, not the Obama Care, right? The Obama Care was basically the derogatory term, and it's crazy because I had worked at, what's the name of the company? But anyway, we would sign people up for the Affordable Care Act. Funny thing, in this company I worked at, where we would sign people up for the Affordable Care Act, there was one section there where it asks if you're an American Indian. This is just a side note. It's a funny thing. It asks if you're an Indian, right? So the person I was talking to on the phone had put in that they were Indian, but they didn't realize they were actually Indian. They were from India. She was Indian from India. So they actually are Indian, but in the paperwork for the ACA, it was referring to American natives. So it was just, and it was when you put yes as an Indian, it opens up a whole different set of questions, and that didn't pertain to an actual Indian. So that was why I had to go through and fix that. But anyway, I know, stupid story. This is funny. It's always stuck with me. I always wondered that, how would an actual Indian, somebody from India, would sort of deal with questions that were for Indians, but actually referring to American natives. So that's pretty weird. That's just pretty sort of outside deal. But I mean, he wasn't a good person. None of these people are good, man. I don't understand. See, we all know about that song from Kendrick Lamar, right? Not Like Us. That is something that I wish a lot of people would understand. Because, okay, so perfect example. There was an issue with one of these UFC fighters talking about Michelle Obama. And I seen a video in response to that from Ricky Smiley. And he's like, people don't talk about the Obamas, right? Now, they don't want to talk. They don't want nobody talking bad about the Obamas. And there are a lot of people, those of us on our level, that have reverence for the Obamas, right? I'm a conspiracy guy. I don't. Because let's go back to the song, They're Not Like Us. Politicians are not like us. And so much of what we see in media is for them to seem likable and to seem like they connect with us and that we can connect with them and that they know where we're coming from and that they are one of us. And a lot of times, that they'll say shit like that they're one of us, and they're always trying to endear themselves to us through campaign, right? And as we know, Mitch McConnell took any sort of blocks off of basically bribery, right? With the campaign reform. But so much of what we see ourselves in these politicians. This is the cult of personality, right? But their actions don't show that. Their actions don't show that they really even care about the country as a country. They're running this country as a fucking corporation. And they're telling the American public, and they're using their propaganda machines, right, to give this sort of false view of the country as being some sort of a country, basically, where laws matter, voting matters, and we see, at least those of us that have eyes to see, yeah, we see what's going on. And we're watching it, and we have no power to change it. We have no power to we don't even have the power to make the rest of our fellow citizens see what's going on. Yeah. It's wild. It's wild because even to this day, so many people shit on conspiracy theories, right? But we go back, right? Let's go back to the movies for this podcast. 1984. True. Let's go back. Alex Jones, right? He's been sort of what we call buffooned, where he has to. He's kind of always been buffoonish, right? But now it's on an astronomical level. But go back and watch his documentaries. They all fucking came true. So a person like myself, right? When I talk about these conspiracies, especially conspiracies that have been something that's been going on for ages, I can show you examples in all walks of life and all institutions, all of previous events, the conspiracy surrounding all of this, and it's proof because time revealed all of the conspiracies, because the conspiracies are coming into fruition now. So of course that's how they're more revealed. But as somebody who remembers, and when I say remembers, I don't necessarily get caught up on everything that's going on right now. I have this way of remembering a lot of things. I can remember things. I remember things back when I was 4 in the hospital. I was in one of those. It's not a Shriners hospital, but it's like that. I remember that. So I have a decent memory. I'm a little fried, so there's little things I won't remember, but big events remember. Like, I clearly remember the filibuster situation going on during the Obama term. Clearly. I mean, I it still happened to this. But not even. You barely hear about the filibuster now. You hear it. And I'm all over all the different, all of the different channels, the different news channels, watching all of them. Republican, Democrat, Independent, all of them delusional. All of them. And some of the guys I respect, guys like Jimmy Dore, that maybe not them personally, I don't know them, but what they're doing and what they talk about, I got respect for. Revolutionary Blackout, definitely Revolutionary Blackout. But I gotta understand, all these different political podcasts, they're just part of the propaganda machine. Because we go back to 1984. Every morning, all the people in this area, they had to get up, do little workouts and shit like that, and then they all had to gather, right? And like an assembly. And during this assembly, you have broadcast, right? And what they would do is they would broadcast their propaganda, right? And then they would broadcast the opposition propaganda. And then what you would see is the people would sort of start gasping when they were being told the truth, that they're being lied to, that that there's no war going on, So they were also broadcasted that opposition as a means to discredit the opposition message. So when you have all these guys on the internet and they're talking about, well, the war may be over, right? You hear that, and they're going to their spiel about this, that, and the other, about the war being over. But in actuality, nothing's going to change. It's all show. Because the politicians are going to do what the billionaires want them to do, and the billionaires are going to just continue to control. And again, I can say that because we know the politicians don't run the government. And I can say that because what I went through with disability started with Trump and ended with Biden. So in actuality, what should have happened, right? Biden comes in. It's like, kill that legislation because it's going to be harmful to so many people. But no, it still went on because those who run the government remain. And they're going to come for everything. We're going to take every safety net that we all have and There's nothing we can do about it. I mean, that's part of the reason why I'm on this YouTube thing so much, because I know it's just a matter of time before they come and get the disability for me. And the thing is, when you go through what I went through, you need insurance. You know what I mean? You need insurance. I'm right now. I'm doing testing for sleep apnea. If I didn't have insurance, you know what I mean? And if I didn't have this shit with my leg and my heart, I would not be sitting at home. I mean, I would still, because I'm a musician, but I wouldn't be as fucked up as I am now. So I'm working hard as fuck on this internet shit to try to build some kind of internet stuff so I can build a little bit of a nest egg for myself. Before I pass on. And I don't know, early in the year, I kind of felt like it was coming soon because I've had little issues and shit. But after the issues I've had, you've always got problems that pop up. But man, there are so many people that are struggling. Like, I remember way long ago when I first got on disability, I met a lady who had fibromyalgia. And as I understand, it's really, obviously it's bad, but it's to the point where you hurt or your body hurts when somebody touches you. That's one thing I know of fibromyalgia. And she couldn't get disability for shit. I don't know what that was about. I don't know why I'm thinking about that now. I guess, like I said, I just remember fucking things. I remember her face. I remember it was an older lady too. I mean, it was a while ago. It was definitely a while ago. But anyway, Weekend at Bernie's. At least, I mean, everything surrounding it, all my spiel around it is very depressing. The movie itself was a little bit funny. I mean, it doesn't really hold up, and they made 2 of those. I don't know. I did see the first one time, so that's why it was like almost like almost like watching it for the first time just now. But I definitely gonna watch fucking 2. No. Anyway, Weekend at Bernie's. Go ahead, head over to Patreon, man. If you checking out the YouTube, which I hope more people are gonna check it out. I'm at a low count, 66. I need more people, man. I need more people. I'm trying to get to 1,000, yo. Once I get to 1,000, then it kicks in. I get to monetize my page, and then I get to do more work. Then I gotta do more work. I gotta make my videos look more professional. Have my music all ready to go. Being able to play live. I'm also gonna film some cover videos, cover songs. I got a little list of songs, and good thing nowadays with our DAWs, we can actually weird term coming from my age, but they call it this now. We can create stems. Now, stem, if you come from where I come from, stem is something crackheads smoke crack out of. But we create stems with our DAWs. And stem is just basically taking a song and splitting up each instrument into a separate file. So that's helpful for doing remixes and also helpful for doing covers. Because usually it used to be either you do a cover and you record all the instruments over again or play all the instruments. So you do the drums, the bass, boom, boom, boom. Or you just play to the song. Just lower the song and just play over it. But now I can just I have the drums separated, I have the bass separated, and I can just rip out everything else. I don't need put my own guitars, which would be the song, but me playing it. And then I want to try some vocals. I want to do like singing and playing guitar at the same time. So I gotta practice that. But I have a few songs, and it's sort of obscure songs that I'm gonna metalize. I don't know. I mean, you remember was it Leo Marchuli, something similar to what he did, but my version of that. So, I mean, I'm still gonna do that regardless if I get 1,000 subscribers. But it'd be nice to be able to monetize my page and, come on over to Patreon, and there's a bunch of shit on there. There's gonna be even more stuff. You know what I mean? And over time, I'm gonna build up. I got to go back and redo some of the podcasts, my earlier podcasts, with the because the sound's all fucked up, and I want to redo it. So like movies like They Live, that's going to be coming up as a redo. I've already did it, but I'm going to redo it again. The points are going to be the same, maybe not framed the same, but the points are going to be the same. And I got some extra things to add to that now. It's, one of the things I want to add to the new podcast, for at least with They Live, there's some commentary from Dick Gregory that I'm going to add to it, and it goes into something about, and it's something I mentioned before, is that once you start to see these patterns, once you start to basically come out of the fog or wake up, you start to see these things and you can't unsee them. And the other part, which is frustrating, is you can't make somebody else see what you see. They have to come to it willingly. And that's displayed in vividly in They Live. So that's the redo is coming up. Next one is going to be Idiocracy, though. And I think I'm going to do sort of like a Skull and Bones or something. I think it's called Bones. But we'll see. We'll see. Well, day is long. Sun is hot. Might as well smoke if you got some pot. I'm out.